Over the last few weeks, you've been listening to Kimberly McKenzie and I talk about the courage to lead differently as nonprofit women leaders. And you've learned some things that you need to do differently, some strategies, but maybe you're looking for some habits to put in place that are really going to help you be this authentic, balanced, effective leader. Today, we're talking about the 6 practices to help you do just that. Let's dive in.
If you've ever wondered how leaders stay calm, clear, and connected, even under pressure, um, you're about to find out. Most people don't talk about what it actually takes to lead well day after day. It's not talent, it's not title, it's practice. Strong leadership doesn't happen by accident. It's built through intentional daily practices. So in this session, we are going to, let me go mute. In this session today, we're going to talk about the 6 core practices of character-driven leadership that help you lead with confidence, authenticity, and resilience. And these are habits that move you from surviving leadership to really thriving in it. And they're simpler than you would think. They're also really powerful. So before we dive in, I'd like to welcome you and introduce my co-host today, Kathy Archer. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, Kimberly, good to be here. This is our 5th session we're doing. And so let's start with authenticity. We're learning this. I love that you had to like mute and,
Yeah,
this is
there's a lot happening.
there's a lot happening. And I think sometimes we think that we should like have it all figured out, and especially as leaders, know what we're doing and look so poised and perfect. That's not true leadership. True leadership is a little bit messy, not always easy, and we don't need to have it all figured out. I am leadership development coach Kathy Archer for women leaders in the nonprofit sector who are drowning in their work and feeling like they're carrying it all themselves and full of that self-doubt. I help them take back that control of their life, manage those thoughts, set boundaries so that, as you said a moment ago, you can get out of that survival mode and start to thrive in both your leadership and life. And this is my second book, Character Driven Leadership. And when I really look at what we're talking about today, the 6 practices, I realized over the last few years, and I know you have too, Kimberly, that sometimes we're missing the practical things to do to get to that point. Before we jump into that, please tell people about you, though, Kimberly.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, I'm Kimberly McKenzie, and I am a leadership coach, group facilitator, and strategic planning consultant. And I work from my home, mostly in Stratford, Ontario, and travel around to teams to help them find alignment, flow, and I do that for organizations. I do that for people. I am a coactive trained leadership coach and certified by the International Coaching Federation and an AFP master trainer. And I have a 25-year career as a charity executive. So that's enough about me.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
and
no, no, no. We got to stop there for a minute because there's one more thing about you that's really important right now. What's happening?
opening week in
Yes,
Stratford.
yes. Tell everybody about that.
Okay, well, opening week, it's kind of like you hear about these film festival weeks, the TIFF Film Festival. My husband and I love the theater, and we moved to Stratford last year. So this is our first season living in Stratford, Ontario, which is home to the largest and the biggest and the best repertory summer theater festival, Shakespeare Festival, and the shows this year are just fabulous. So if anybody is in Stratford coming to either Shakespeare or musical or some new Canadian drama, reach out to me because I would love to go to the show with you and talk to you about it and help you experience this beautiful, beautiful town. So thank you for that grace,
Well,
Kathy. It's
yes.
open.
And so if anybody's into that, please go follow Kimberly because like the outfits and everything yesterday were like, I didn't realize it was a thing.
It's a black tie week for every night. So the first night it was As You Like It. That was black tie. The second night was Annie. So people were dressed a little bit more thematically around Annie and what that was like. And tonight is Macbeth. And a lot of us are pulling out our leather because this year Robert Lepage has chosen the 1990s biker wars to stage Macbeth.
Oh,
So
oh.
there's going to be a lot of leather and chains tonight.
Interesting, interesting. And have you done some fundraising in the theater world?
No, it's just my passion.
Ah,
That's the thing. Can we get back on topic now,
well,
Kathy?
we can, but I do think that sometimes people need to hear a little bit about us.
Mm.
And it's important to sort of recognize because I know there are lots. I work with women who support the arts as well, and so I
Mhm.
know that a lot of the arts is nonprofit based,
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
so there's recognition that you have a passion for that. All right,
Well,
get us back
thank
on
you.
track.
Okay, well, there's an interesting thing there that has come to mind for me, and then we'll get back on topic. But the interesting thing is, I came into the sector and I started. I spent a lot of time working with environmental charities, and we used to always say the environment is so under recognized. It was less than 3% of all the money donated to environmental causes. Uh,
Yeah.
all money donated went to environmental causes. So they were really struggling there. But an interesting thing has happened, I think, due to the climate crisis and COVID. Um, the piece of the pie that's going to environmental charities is definitely increasing for good reason. But that does mean that if you love the arts and like we do, and that's certainly where we prioritize our giving, they're really struggling. So, go to your local theater, dig into your local art gallery, and just it's good for the soul. It's good for humanity. It's good for people connection. And it really does hold a mirror up to society. So there we are. There's my little plug. Thank you very much. Let's help some leaders in the arts feel like they are a little bit more practically tooled up for their.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to talk about six practices that can help you lead in that character-driven leadership way. We have some people following along. If you have questions along the way, pop them into the chat. Um, Let me just give you the quick rundown. We started this series, Kimberly, you're going to have to help me make sure I get this right. We
Sure.
started the series with the three mistakes we've made
Yeah.
that Kimberly and I both made, and so many of you have also made in this field. We think we have to live like men, live like, and lead like men, lead
Like,
like men.
yeah.
Right. And I don't mean men, I mean in masculine ways of leadership. So there are lots of women who lead in masculine ways too. Those have been our role models for forever and a day. We believed that we needed to work harder. So we stayed late, put more hours in, rather than managing our energy. And then we thought that we needed to, correct me if I'm wrong, it was about values. Michelle or
We weren't
Kimberly,
aligned with our values.
to align with our values. Yeah, yeah. We lost sight of our values in many ways because we thought we had to do all of these things.
Mhm.
Um, we then talked about the power of the pause, which is slowing down to check those three mistakes. Is this the way I want to lead? Is this aligned with who I am? Is this, burning the candle at both ends, helping me get to where I want to go? Probably not. And so you do need to slow down more often to do that.
And what I loved about that session, Kathy, was that we talked about the neuroscience of the pause. Our brain and our body literally needs a moment sometimes. And whether that's just taking a breath when you walk into a room or an important meeting, or whether that's taking half a day off so that you can have a nap. So there's actual neuroscience around rewiring your brain, which is fascinating. And that's why the pauses
And
are.
for those of you listening, I wrote down a little note that said this morning, Kimberly, I didn't tell you this. That's
Oh,
that said Kimberly and I could do a whole session on the power or the ROI of the pause at work. So
sure. Let's do that.
stay,
Okay.
stay tuned for that. So why does this all matter? Why align, manage your energy, do all of these things? It's because people are judging you every single day. We are judgment making machines. You come and you talk to me about my performance. We have a staff meeting. I see you in a all hands call, and I'm like, oh, she's not quite. Or I don't trust her, or she says all this stuff, but she'll never follow through. That's your reputation or your character.
And that's the next session that we went into was, and I love, and I really learned from you that character is different from values and that character is your bottom. I can't stop thinking about that. Like, you are judged based on your worst day and just the constant practice of bringing leveling up
Up
that
your
bottom.
worst day. Yeah, yeah. And we can have some pretty crappy days. And
Sure.
and people will take all of those wonderful good things, but that one little moment we snap, the bitchy look, the inappropriate comment, they're going to hold on tighter to that and
Mhm.
remember that stronger than all of those good things. And that's what they're going to judge you on. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, we want to raise our floor. Bring your floor up to what I call your aspirational identity. This is the leader I want to be. This is the way I want to show up. This is the impact I want to have. This is what I want to be known for, my legacy. Keeping that in vision and bring your floor up, and that's what's going to do the work. So today, oh, go ahead, Kimberly.
No, because then we talked about it as a practice, the pause, ponder, pivot, proceed, and
Yeah,
people, which was a super useful session. They're all recorded on my LinkedIn page under events. But that one really, you've developed a framework that really helps people flow through it and understand it's never a one and done, to not expect perfection, to let go of the belief that you're going to know everything, and to start a self-reflection practice. So I wanted to make sure we didn't skip over that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
now,
yeah.
you
Okay.
know, now let's get into this.
Well, so all of this comes out of character-driven leadership. And Kimberly and I were talking before. This is my version of the same stuff that half the world is teaching. But it's packaged in a way that's really specific for women in the nonprofit sector. And just a shameless plug, it's been sitting at number 2 on Amazon for the last 3 days. If you have not bought it, please go buy it. I just would like to at least, get to number 1 once. That would just be,
We'll get there. We'll
it'll
get
get
there.
there.
I do believe that this is a game changer, particularly for women who haven't quite figured out how to leverage all of their strengths, or for folks with feminine energy that they feel like they need to armor up and suit up and soldier through leadership. We don't have to do that. So
No.
today we're going to talk about the 6 practices that shape strong leaders. And I love this because it's really sticky, it's really easy, it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not something we're taught to do
Mhm.
specifically. We are taught you need strategic plans, you need to have staff meetings, you need to raise some money, you need to fill out the reports. We're not taught how to show up doing all of that stuff. And so that's part of the character that we've been talking about. So these 6 practices help you look at the you behind the work you're doing. Ready to
Mhm.
dive in?
Yeah, do it. You start
All
with
right.
number 1.
Number 1, lead with learning. We have to have that growth mindset. We have to continually be growing and learning as leaders. We have to look at, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And then what do I need to do to get there? And again, some of that learning is I take a course on how to do spreadsheets, or I get my certification in fundraising, whatever. Some of it is that kind of stuff. But a lot of the learning that we miss is, how do I manage my emotions? How do I align with my values? How do I make values driven decisions? How do I take care of myself and balance my energy so that I can sustain all of this stuff that's going on? It's that kind of learning that we miss.
Mhm. I like to think of it as, what's the next best version of me?
Mm,
Whether you're working on your practical tools and your knowledge, or whether you're working on just becoming the next best version of yourself. One of the coaching calls or coaching questions, it's a tough question that I ask individual clients is, if a CEO were going, I think I got this from James Clear. This wasn't my question, but well, one of the questions is there what is an area where you keep disappointing yourself? Or if a CEO were going to come in and run your life, what would be the first thing they would give up?
mm. Yes, yes.
That can really hone in on where your next growth opportunity comes from.
I think that that highlights the 2 parts of growth that are important. You're talking about the self-awareness piece, and we're not taught how to be self-aware. And
Right.
that's some of those questions, like how do you show up in a meeting? What's the impact you have? What's the thing you need to give up to actually have that impact? Like, those are the things that make us more self-aware. It's learning about emotional intelligence. It's learning about our bodies. It's learning about our thoughts, all of that kind of stuff. The second part is actual things we need to learn to do our job better. And when we're looking at so many leaders come to me because they're lacking confidence. I don't feel, that I'm cut out for this. I don't feel I'm doing it right. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job. I feel like that imposter syndrome. We moved in to leadership positions from frontline. 99% of us. We did not get leadership training. So without the competence, the skills to do it, you're not going to feel competent or confident. So it's that competence that you've got to do. What are the skills I'm lacking and where am I going to learn them from?
And I think that's possibly a conversation that is often missed, particularly in the nonprofit sector, is okay, you're a fabulous major gift fundraiser. Now let's make you the director of the entire development team. And if I were to renegotiate a position like that, one of the things I would put on the table is where my gaps are and a budget for a professional development plan and
Yes, yes.
organizational understanding around what it will take. And some, larger organizations are great at doing that, but the smaller under $10 million budget organizations rarely invest in their staff in that way.
And I started with a new client recently, and she asked me that question, should I ask the board for staff development dollars? I'm like, yes, 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 you should. And you know what she said? Um, but there's not a budget for the staff. I feel guilty doing that. I'm like, well, that's the process you're going to get to, and it's going to start with you learning first,
Right.
right?
First you
It's that
model.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so that's learning.
I've had clients come to me because they need the extra scaffolding that individual leadership coaching can provide. And then that term ends and the next budget cycle comes around and they've gone back into their finance team, a fierce advocate for including it in their budget the following year. And then they come back because they know that it makes a significant difference.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, number two, mold your mindset. Mindset is everything. What we think, what we believe leads our lives. You are what you think, you become what you believe. Your beliefs are your decisions, your beliefs are your daily actions. And that mindset, I talk about it in the book as a set point. If you get stuck in its set point, meaning like where your thermostat is set or the radio dial is set, you get stuck on that spot and you can stay there for a long time. You and I were talking about most of the people that come to you and I are stuck. They're
mhm.
stuck and they can't find their way out. It's because they've got that belief that I'm not enough, I'm not cut out for this, my traits, the way I show up isn't right. I
Mhm.
have to shut my emotions off. I have to leave my emotions at the door. It's not okay to talk about my family. I mean, we could go on, but those mindsets are so important.
Well, I want to also talk about negativity bias, which is a
Yes.
real
Yeah.
thing. We are trained as humans to see and amplify the negative and not the positive.
Yes. Yes.
So what that means is we need to be really intentional. Like affirmations work, gratitude practice works, having an accountability buddy works, having somebody say, okay, this might be an overshare, but my husband once said to me, I wish you could see you the way that I see you.
Yes. Yes.
And last night at opening, I wore this thing that this one of the women in a consignment store said, "Oh, you absolutely, this is the most dramatic, beautiful, colorful thing, and it looks so good on you, and you should wear it."
The
And I
red
said,
dress?
no, it wasn't that. It was the following night's outfit,
Okay.
Kathy.
Okay.
But it was this big, bright, flowy thing. And at intermission, somebody complimented me on it. And I usually wear black and
Mhm.
I'm not, anyway, I said, what's happening on the outside of my body is very different right now than what's happening on the inside of my body. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And that often how we appear to others and how we're feeling inside ourselves can be very different at times. So these practices to reframe and to use I don't know how to talk about neuroscience that well, but I think it's neuroplasticity to be able to exercise and rewire our brains with intention matters. And sometimes those positive messages need to come externally.
Yes, yes. Um, they need to come externally and then we need to internalize them. And this
Mhm.
is part about molding your mindset is it's our internal operating system. And
Mhm.
again, if you think about you move from frontline into leadership, your operating system was a frontline staff or a supervisor. The way you deal with things is way different. You're not used to needing to think that strategically, to be that take time to plan, to prepare, to mull over, to reflect. All of those things is a way different way of thinking.
And I'd like to just share something that I did as a bit of a, I guess it's going to sound a bit like a humble brag, but I think it demonstrates a way that we can not just do this for ourselves, but also do it for our teams.
Yes.
I'm going to bring us back to the festival. And I live on a street where a lot of young actors live. And I remember being a young actor and it's just such a scramble and a slog. And there is somebody here at the festival who is in a leadership role. They're young, they've never been here before, and they are like the main character of the show. And I see her on the street, them on the street, and say, "Oh, how are you doing? Don't get lonely, blah, 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 blah. It's a big place, it's a big festival, you made it." But I just sent her a text and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
opening night's coming. I want you to take a moment to pause and really think about the fact that you're here and you deserve it and you worked hard for it and celebrate the fact that you made it because this is a big deal."
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do that to ourselves for ourselves, but we can also do it for our teams as they grow and flourish, and for our friends, and for the young actors on the street. Like, let's just drop some flowers
Yeah.
and help people see those things because they're real and it's a big deal.
I'll go on a quick tangent here. In the book, I talk about the fundamentals of leadership. Be yourself, develop yourself, take care of yourself, and teach others to do the same. So we're
There
talking
you go.
about, right? We're talking about being authentically you. Be yourself, figure out your strengths, lead with your strengths, develop yourself. We must do this. This is why lead with learning is number one. You've got to develop yourself and grow yourself. Take care of yourself is a fundamental if you're going to lead. And yes, part of leadership is teaching your people to do all three of those things too.
So I'm mindful of the time and I'm happy to go a little bit longer, but we're
This is
geeking out
fast.
on number one and number two.
All right.
Uh, let's get to number three.
Calling curiosity is number three. We are judgment making machines. We have the answer, know what's really going on. And again, back to this pause when we talked about the infinite leadership loop. Pause, do some pondering. That's where curiosity comes in. And it's that open-mindedness. It's that just questioning and diving deeper. That again, the growth mindset part. It's just slowing down and getting curious. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to figure everything out for everybody else. And in fact, it's not good to do that.
Mhm.
Just
And
be curious.
it's a fabulous management tool to keep curiosity front of mind because our tendency is to, if somebody comes to us with a problem or an overreaction or is emotional or, whatever, we tend to feel as leaders like we need to fix this.
Yes.
But having a coaching mindset and how you lead your team and being curious about what's really going on here. And you can just say that, Kathy, tell me more about what's going on here.
I was just going to use that line. Okay. So if people are following along and you want Kimberly and I to keep talking about these things, I wonder if talking about coaching your staff would be a good
Oh,
conversation.
yeah, we could add that as a topic for sure.
Because that's what I was just going to say. One of the sentences I give my people all the time is, "Tell me more." Just say that sentence again and again and again.
Mhm.
Stop, trying to figure it out. Stop having all the answers. Just say, "Tell me more," and
Mhm.
let people talk.
What else? The most powerful coaching question is like people pay us a lot of money to know how to ask what else. But okay, it works though, because people go deep, they find the solutions for themselves,
Yeah.
and they come through it feeling more confident and more capable. Um,
While you're thinking, both of
yeah,
us are coactive trained coaches, and I
yeah.
know one of the biggest things that we learned in coaching was
Hmm.
talking silence. Like we were graded on silence. the ability to be quiet and let people think or mull it over or come up with their own things. And that's where curiosity comes in.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the
All
next one.
right, number four, jot in your journal. I hate the Dear Diary. I'm sorry it's called journaling. You can call
So
it whatever you
cliche.
want,
No.
but it is one of the fundamental things that is critical to your growth and development is to write things down. Self-reflection, I say it in every single chapter at least once, if not multiple times. Self-reflection is key to character development. It really is key to your growth and development.
Mhm. I'm distracted by something. I think I've worn the same outfit on every Wednesday for every Lincoln Live. Like you always show up with something new and different on, and I've got like this regular uniform. Anyway, that's Kimberly having a squirrel moment.
Okay, wait a minute. It is a squirrel moment, but let's go back a moment to authenticity. Men don't have that fear. Men can
Oh,
show up with a suit and a
yeah,
jacket or a polo shirt
yeah,
and don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so just recognize that what we look like, the amount of time we do our hair and our makeup is a thing about
Female leadership.
female.
And honestly, I mean, I've got a virtual practice and I have days that block off because I just don't feel like doing that. I want to walk my dogs, wear my baseball hat, throw on my,
Yes.
workout wear, whatever, but I just don't want to be client facing. And I often talk to my husband about this too, because he gets up, he's like a little trained robot. He wakes up, ready for work in 15 minutes.
Yes.
He doesn't think about whether there's humidity in the air or how to do his hair or whether his foundation matches his skin tone and whether he has chin hairs. He just gets to wake up and be brilliant. And that does make it a little bit more complex as a woman. And I really love what Pamela Anderson has been doing lately, where she was in an interview recently and she's showing up in public without any makeup. And she said, I played characters all my life and I just want to figure out who I am. And this is who I am and this is what I look like now. And so yeah, a nod to the
And back to, molding your mindset and saying we're judgment and making machines. We do judge women. We do. We judge
we
each
do.
other too.
Yeah.
So part of this is us changing things as well, and recognizing. So again, I go back to jot in your journal. This is some of the stuff that you jot in your journal. I was worried
Mhm.
about what I was going to look like today. I was worried about what people, that's not what I want. I want to worry about the impact I have or recognizing that yes, I'm at a meeting and I did need to take care of my appearance today. Is that okay? Yeah, that made sense to me to worry more. Those are the things you might journal. You might also be journaling, my staff pissed me off today. What was the trigger? What made me get like my blood boil? What was
Mhm.
the thing that was said that I could feel the red rise, right? Those are the things you might be journaling. You might also write down things like, oh, I noticed my staff did this. I want to make sure that I follow up on that. Or, wow, that's one of their strengths that I see. Journaling is not just this like little Dear Diary thing. It is so much bigger. In the back of the book, I have 6 pages of journal prompts.
Mm.
I should actually read some. Go ahead, Kimberly. You were going to say something.
Well, I think it's like in for Harry Potter fans, it's like Dumbledore, he had so much in his brain, he actually had to take a pensieve and I don't remember if somebody's listening that they can put in the chat which episode it was, but he actually had his wand and he just took the thoughts. Let me see if I can
Yeah,
do took the thoughts and he put them down and he did this and
that's
he put like he just had too much in his brain and he
yeah,
had to put it away to be taken care of so that he could think about the next
got
thing.
it.
And for me, if I go more than 2 or 3 days without my journaling practice, I do start to feel old insecurities creep
Yeah,
in and
yeah.
self-doubts creep in and the demons that we all carry around. So the journal practice for me and the gratitude practice are extremely important because they have reshaped my brain. They have helped me show up more confidently, and
Yeah.
they have um, helped me get clarity inside around who it is that I want to be and how I want to serve. So share some of those journal prompts,
All right.
Kathy.
Uh, what is the ethical dilemma I am facing right now?
Oh,
That hurts, right?
yeah.
What does my ethical compass tell me to do now? What did I role model for my team today?
Mm.
And one more. If I had the perfect life, career, relationship, this is the kind of person I would be. Dot, dot, dot.
Oh, I love that.
So, next practice, weave in wellness is going to come
Yeah.
back to part of this as well.
Mhm.
We were talking about the fundamentals of leadership. Be yourself, develop yourself, take care of yourself. In my membership site, I teach a course called Wellness at Work. We cannot wait till the end of the day to strengthen ourselves and pour back into our tank. We cannot lead effectively when we're running on the red line. It just does not work. If we want sustainable productivity, if we want sustainable composure, if we want to do the work we need to do, we must take care of ourselves.
And can we acknowledge that wellness at work, and I have a whole workshop on this as well, but it's not forcing your team to do yoga midday if they don't
Oh,
do.
no.
It's not dragging folks out for drinks at the end of the day when they would rather be with their family and their kids. Um, it's not providing snacks, although that's kind of nice. Uh, it's about building loyal, safe teams and spaces where folks feel comfortable being brave. And it's about normalizing mental, physical, and social well-being.
Yeah. And to normalize it, you might be 2 minutes late for a meeting and you might say, my apologies for being late. I needed to run to the washroom and grab a snack before so that I can be my best at this meeting. That's wellness at work.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a wonderful example. Do you have other examples?
Uh, Simple things like stretching, having a drink of water, getting something to eat, those little micro moments of mindfulness where you like take a deep breath, where you close your eyes for half a second and just like let everything go. It might be literally shaking it off, like, oh my God, I just had one of those meetings and I just need to like get rid of whatever I'm pissed off about. Little tiny, I call them micro moments, things that you can do like in under 3 minutes, under a minute. Those are the things that are going to get you through the day.
I, how often, because it can feel like you're running on a hamster wheel. I think for those times, just feeding our bodies something that is better fuel, like to think about food as fuel for your body.
Yes,
And on days like that, protein, a hard-boiled egg or
100%.
a bag of nuts in your drawer really matter.
Our brain is like pulling the majority of calories out of the rest of our body. And you know, you could go do like hard labor all day and you would not feel like the wet noodle you feel after being in meetings all day. It's a different kind of drain.
These things all seem so cliche and so obvious, but a lot of people just don't do them because they seem so cliche and so
Common
obvious.
sense is not always common practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, last practice is hone your habits. This circles back to all we've been doing. The habit of self-reflection, the habit of self-care, the habit of making sure you have things scheduled in for learning, the habit of being curious, the
Mhm.
habit of checking your mindset, all of those. Do you have the habit of checking in with your staff? Do you have the habit of, if you have to cancel a call, a one-to-one session with a team, rescheduling? What are your habits? Your habits are your superpowers. And we often have to, oh, what was the question you said from James Clear? We often have to weed
Just-
out or
yeah,
move the weeds before we can plant the seeds.
yeah. So what do you need to give up?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you need to get out of your routine? Like if your routine is checking email 500 times a day, that might be a weed you need to pluck out if you want more time for
Yeah,
something else.
I, I'll just confess that at the moment I'm spending too much time scrolling through in doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And it's the muscle that gets lazy, and then I know that I am wasting too much time on social media, um, consuming it, not creating it.
So
I just
this I was doing the same thing yesterday. I'm like scrolling, and all of a sudden I realized I'm like, Kathy, get the hell off! Like you're just wasting time. I can't. And then I'm like, Kathy, talk a little bit kinder to yourself, right?
yeah, I
Like,
know. It's like
right?
I know. Why
Like,
am I watching cakes being decorated? Like, why am I sitting here for half an hour watching people decorate cakes? Well, I guess the thing is, is it avoidance or is it respite? I don't
Mine was
know.
avoidance, 100% avoidance. And when
Yeah,
I slow down, I recognize that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're avoiding something that you think is difficult. That's that self-awareness piece that's so, so important. When you
Mm.
recognize that, then rather than beating yourself up for scrolling, you go, okay, what's making this hard? What's the mindset I'm in that is making this be such a big thing when it's not a big thing,
Mhm.
right? And so that's the practice that we've been talking about all along.
Yep. So honing habits.
Honing habits. So lead with learning, mold your mindset, call in curiosity, jot in your journal, weave in wellness, and hone your habits. Those are the 6 practices that are really going to help you develop that character strength based leadership that you've been looking for. Now, the model that I teach is that pause, ponder, pivot, proceed. Kimberly's model, very similar, but takes this more into the organization. Tell us quickly about that, Kimberly, too.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, all of these things that we can apply to ourselves, we can also apply to and make space for our teams.
Mhm.
So everything around this character-driven leadership also applies to character-driven teams or values-based leadership or helping organizations find their flow. And I love the flow framework because it's about focusing really on what matters, leading with integrity, owning the culture, and again, that well-being ongoing practice, working the well-being. And this is work. But the beautiful thing is when we do this with our teams, when have we call it designing our alliance, but when you make a promise to each other to do these things, to make it normal and to hold each other accountable and to stay curious about each other, then it's a lot easier. You tend to like the people that you work with more
Yeah.
and build more loyalty within your team. And as a result, uh, you make more money for your organization or your charity. There is a local lawyer in town that I am going to be writing, using as an example for an article in the fall. I was blown away at a Chamber of Commerce event when I learned that she sat down with her team and said, "What's your biggest pain point about working here?" Now, she is running a female-led lawyer's office, and her team, 100% of them said, "It's my household chores at home. It's keeping my home running, and that gets in the way." And so, guess what this incredibly brilliant woman did? She hired a cleaner to clean the homes of her staff.
Mm. Yeah.
She removed that pain point for them.
Yeah.
That is innovation. And that is, you know, of course, we all just cleaners are, I don't have a cleaner right now, but I have had them in the past, and they really are miracle workers and, and are not given the credit that they very much deserve, but they can change your world. And so, anyway, the point is, there was a leader who looked outside of the box, applied some of these principles to her team, and led with curiosity and solved the problem. And guess what? Everybody loves working for her.
Yes. And if you've been listening along to all of these sessions and you're like, oh my God, Kimberly, help us do that. Kimberly loves to come on site and do trainings with teams. So please reach out to her if you are looking for any training in your team, any support to do this work, because Kimberly is excited to do that, especially if you're in the arts. Like that would be a bonus for Kimberly.
Oh, yeah, that would be a bonus because that's where my heart beats. But I love working with any purpose-driven organization or team, absolutely. And I have the wonderful joy of going up to Parry Sound in a couple of weeks and then into Toronto the week after that. And so, but you, my dear, are a rock star online. So if anybody wants to dig into this work online or in a webinar or on a podcast, then they should absolutely reach out to you because this book has the potential to change the world. And the more people who read it, I think the better. And then let's keep having these conversations around it. So we have one more conversation in this series coming up next Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. Kathy, what are we talking about?
We're talking about creating some goals or some strategies or plans to make this all happen. This is all lovely if we sit here and listen to this, but if you don't actually take action, if you don't actually do something about it, on an ongoing basis, it's not going to change. So we're going to talk about how to make realistic goals that actually work for you to do this work. Goals that I'll just lay a quick plug. We're not talking about finish this course or achieve this metric at work. It might be, I had a client tell me yesterday, I have a goal to stop interrupting people. So how do you
Mm.
measure a goal like that? And how do you learn to change that behavior? Those are the kind of goals we're going to talk about next week.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm loving these conversations. We geeked out a little bit today, but hopefully you found it useful. Please let us know if you have any further questions, you want to talk about it more, you want to hop into a Zoom room one-on-one with either Kathy or I, or both of us. And when you're looking for somebody to work with, it's really good to have what's called a chemistry session to see if their style resonates with you, if you feel like you can open up and be truly honest, because that's the best way to do this work, is to be completely and 100% honest and open with yourself. And that's what great coaches do. So I'm looking forward to the active part of the of this work next week, Kathy. And as always, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye bye.